All right, in this video, we're gonna go over the display settings for your Acer monitor so that you can maximize the image output of your smart mirror. And then we're also gonna go over how to de-bezel the monitor. And what that means is that we're gonna be taking this back plate off so that any extra portion of this monitor is gone. And then that way there's not extra space being taken up inside your frame. So that way we can minimize the depth of your frame. You're also going to want to make sure that you have already gone through the setup of your Raspberry Pi and your SD card. You want to make sure that it actually turns on and that the smart mirror screen actually comes up. And the reason for that is once we take this apart, it's a little bit more delicate, a little bit more fragile, and you're not going to want to be moving it around and testing things. So you want to make sure that everything about your Raspberry Pi and SD card are working properly with this monitor before we begin the next steps of taking it apart. So the first thing you're going to want to do is plug in the Raspberry Pi that's powering the smart mirror that you have into the monitor. That way you actually do have a picture display coming up and it's going through the proper HDMI input, and then you can adjust these display settings. There's only a couple things that you'll need to change on this monitor, and to do that you can go ahead and click not the top one because that's the power button on the back right side, on the back right panel, but the second one down should then bring up the menu. You'll see mode, brightness, input, and menu. We are going to want to click in the bottom button for menu. And once this comes up, we're going to stay in picture mode and we're going to go over to brightness and then press the circular toggle on the back to enter. And we're going to turn brightness all the way from 80 all the way up to 100 just so that the screen is really powering through for the smart mirror. So we're going to go ahead and turn that up, and it will give us a warning that this is likely to increase the energy consumption of the screen, which is fine. So we're gonna click OK. And then we're gonna just toggle to the right all the way to 100. Once we've done that, we are going to press the circular toggle in the back again to enter, and then go down to black boost. And we are just gonna turn this all the way to 0. And the reason that we wanna do this is we don't want black to have any light at all. And if you turn it all the way to the other side to 10, you'll see that the screen gets a little bit gray. And that's because that's the black element that's really, really shining through. But we don't want black to actually have light. We want the blacks to be the blackest that they can with no light. So we're gonna turn black boost all the way down to 0. And then we're gonna go ahead and click in the circular toggle on the back again to enter that. And then those are the only two things you'll need to update. And now we are ready to go ahead and take the bezel off. The first thing that you'll want to do before removing the bezel is power the screen off, because you don't want anything plugged in here while you're messing with the electronics behind the panel. Once you've got it powered down and all of the cords removed, you're going to want to turn it upside down, and you're going to see a little screw right here, and you're going to want to take that out because that is actually holding this back plate against the inner screen. And the next part that you'll need to do is, if you have not yet taken off the plastic little strip on the edge of the panel, or excuse me, on the edge of the screen, you're gonna have to take that off so that way you can actually take this back panel off easily. Next, we're gonna wanna find a very small flathead screwdriver or some other piece of metal that we can stick in these little holes here. So these are where the back panel is actually being held in place to the front of the screen. And what we're gonna look to do is put this in here and then pop this back panel out, and this whole thing should come off. So what we're gonna do is just push this in here. It might feel like it shouldn't go in, or things might break. So you might just need to play around with it for a little bit. But I found that the easiest way to do it is just to put this in here and then twist it. And if you twist the flathead while inside, you should see a little bit of a pop. And then you can just go ahead and work your way all the way around the screen. Maybe we'll try this other side first. There we go. And you really just want to dig in there, and then eventually you'll hear other pops, which is the other clamps coming off. Then eventually you'll be able to work your way around so you guys can see this. There we go. So as you can see, it might be tough to start, but once you get working your way around, you can kind of stick the screwdriver in there and then work your way down, and you should feel a series of pops. And then now that we have this open, you'll also notice that this cord is attached to both the back panel and this. So you want to carefully take this off. And what this is the control panel that we were pressing earlier, how we were updating the settings when we were clicking enter to select, and these are the menu items. So we do still want that, but we want to separate it from this back panel. So you guys can see what I'm doing. Just taking the tape off of here. And then we will need one more screwdriver to actually take this back panel out. There you have it. This gets moved to the side. And now, here's the front of your screen. And you have all this extra room to play with.